assistant coach Nick Acquaviva, local guy from CNS, coaches the goalies and the face-off guys. Nick, always great to chat. Thanks for hopping on today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate your time.
All right, so here we go, Nick. Where are we at with this team right now? Because, man, I look back at the Notre Dame game a couple weeks ago, and I mean, I'd say that's the most complete performance we've seen from Syracuse lacrosse in a few years. And not that the last 2 weeks are bad losses, right, with Duke and Cornell, but it slipped a little bit. How are you feeling when you look at the last 3 weeks in comparison?
I think you gotta find the positives. Got to take away. Those are very talented teams that we just played, obviously, and they don't get any easier as the season goes on. So I think you just got to find the little parts of the game that you had success in and try to build off of those and find ways that you could use those same aspects against the next opponent.
I'd say there's been lots of successes in the two areas that you focus on, which is face-offs and goaltending. Let's start with face-offs. That's just where the game starts. How good has John Mullen been this year? Because you look at, last year he kind of played more and more as the season went along, complementing Mason Cohn. He's been outstanding here this year. What have you seen in his progression?
Yeah, he's been super strong for us. I'd like to say he's probably the best face-off guy in the country, and he very well could finish the year at that spot. And he's going against some of the best face-off guys in the country too. Cascadin from Cornell and Lynch and Wambach this weekend. So he's not going against any slouches out there, and he's done a great job for us as he's done since the start of the season.
When you look at him, and you've had him now for 2 years, it was one where, you had Mason Cohn last year, and he was like a bulldog kind of guy. What kind of face-off guy is Mullen when you look at tactician versus physical? How would you describe his face-off ability? I
think you'd probably say physical first. I don't know if you've had a chance to stand next to Johnny, but he is a physical specimen. And then I think he's really grown in his preparation and his intelligence as a player, his scouting. I think all of those areas he's progressed as you hope a sophomore would.
I find it so interesting with these face-off guys. Ever since like the face-off academy and all that became a thing about a decade, a little bit more than that ago, like they are so fine with their technique in ways that just did not exist 15 years ago. What do you notice about how advanced these young guys are when they show up at college now?
Yeah, I think they come ready with multiple moves, I guess you could say, or multiple exits. They're well aware of counters and when to use them, when not. So I think they're just coming in more prepared with a strong understanding of what else is out there other than just clamping and getting the ball out.
We got Nick Acquaviva with us, assistant lacrosse coach, and obviously it's not just the face-off guy, right? We know it's a multi-man game. You got to get the wings involved. Does Sam English ever get tired, or is he just running around on a loop all game?
Yeah, he's the Energizer Bunny. He just keeps going. He's fantastic. We're super lucky to have him, and he does it all, right? You just said it. He doesn't leave the field at times. He's offense, defense, wings, special teams. So he's been fantastic.
All right, let's switch to the other position that you coach, and that is the goalies. And, it was a hot goalie battle this year going back a few months, won by Jimmy McCool. And, man, he's really settled into it, it feels. The first month, you got to get a sense of it. How have you noticed his improvement through this year in his first year as starter?
I think you've seen him get so much more comfortable in net. I think early in the season, you could kind of see in his body language, his footwork was a little antsy. He was a little, excited. I'm not sure what the best word is there, but he was definitely a little antsy. It felt like early in the season. He's really settled in. He's so much more calm pre-shot, so he can be aggressive when they are shooting. He's playing his angles. His positioning has really continued to improve. It's the thing we kind of talk about daily is getting square to the shooter and maintaining that strong posture, and he's done a fantastic job at doing that as the years gone along.
Yeah, I feel, and tell me if I'm wrong here, Nick, that like the most relaxed goalies seem generally to be the ones that respond best, right, in games. It's almost counterintuitive, but it's got to be hard to be calm when those guys are shooting at you at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's definitely takes some time to, I think, learn how to be that patient and be calm. Mm-hmm. Your body's screaming at you to to move out of the way and don't get hit by that hard rubber ball, but you have to train yourself to do the exact opposite of that.
I know the guys on defense certainly credited Will Mark the last couple of years of being an outstanding communicator in goal, which is an important part of that job. Where does Jimmy fit in that? What is his communication style on the field?
I think he's, an equally as vocal guy. He definitely has some upperclassmen around him playing in front of him that will, I would say, probably take the lead in a lot of the communication aspects. But I think Jimmy definitely has a strong voice. He does a great job communicating in the clear. He's definitely vocal and learning to use his voice more and more as he gets chances in games and grows as a player.
Nick Acquaviva with us, Syracuse Orange lacrosse assistant coach. Cuse and Carolina coming up this Saturday at 5 o'clock in the Dome. And we've seen you have such great success at home this year. Obviously, a little more struggles on the road. It makes sense for one. Obviously, most teams usually play better at home. Have you picked up a reason for that, Nick? Is it something about being inside versus outside? Is it just the caliber of teams you've played away from home? Is there anything that stands out at the Dome versus not in the Dome?
I don't think it's necessarily the Dome or not the Dome. I think most teams would prefer to, stay home, sleep in their own beds the night before, don't have to worry about getting on the bus, all those types of things. I think makes it easier to play at home for everybody. And like you just alluded to, we definitely have had some tougher opponents on the road as well. So I don't necessarily say that, it's the Dome itself that we play better in. I think it's kind of maybe the circumstances surrounding that. And we just have to do a better job of preparing ourselves to come out ready to play when we are on the road.
This Carolina game has a habit of getting chippy here the last few years. What is it about this matchup you think that leads to that?
I think they're just an extremely talented team, and they don't want to lose, and our guys don't want to lose either. And there's definitely familiarity of playing each other so much in the past couple of years that kind of that rivalry grows and that rubbing of each other the wrong way grows, and you definitely try to take it out on them when you get the chance.
Dave Petramala on the other sideline remains interesting after his 2 years here as an assistant, and he certainly knows the ins and outs of Pat's offense and vice versa from all this time in practice. What's the chess matchup like in a game like this where quite literally the offensive and defensive coordinator work closely for 2 years?
Yeah, I think we can expect Dave to pull something out of the bag that he might not have done all that often while he was here, or making some tweaks, making some changes, maybe not presenting things to look the exact same as they have been looking in the previous games. Dave's a great coach, and he does a great job of being able to disguise things. So I'm sure he'll kind of game plan something up for us that we probably haven't seen. And, Coach March is going to do a great job of getting the offense ready to attack whatever that defense is.
You guys have done a great job, it feels like, as a collective, as a team here for the last, I don't know, going back to probably after the Harvard loss of, isolating every day, every game, every moment. Is that still possible at this point as we get so late and so close to May, or are you able to keep this one, in perspective this weekend?
I think our guys have done a great job, and the coaching staff has done a great job of locking in about that next game mentality. And certainly this weekend is a huge game for us, a chance to win the ACC regular season championship. First time since, I think, 2018. So I know the boys will definitely be focused on this one and not looking ahead to what's to come. I think it might actually be a little easier to focus on the present and now because of how important it is. A lot of times early in the season, you're looking forward to these type of big games that you're playing for something.
All right. What does it come down to Saturday, Nick? What do you think decides a game like this?
Selfishly, I'll probably say the middle of the field, the face-offs and the goalie play. I think that's generally most games come down to those two areas. If you can dominate possessions and make stops, the team's going to win the game.
All right. Well, your two spots have done quite well this season, Nick, so hopefully that continues this Saturday. Thanks for hopping on, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that is Nick Acquaviva, Orange lacrosse assistant coach, local guy from CNS who coaches the face-off guys and the goalies, which, as he said, quite important in the games anytime, but this time of year as we approach quickly to May. With that, we'll take